Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Clutch Conversations. Having a little bit of technical difficulties right there out the gate. Everything was fine before, but yeah, I couldn't hear anything, couldn't see anything on the screen. I think we're good to go now, but welcome to the show, welcome to the show, welcome to the show, man. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight, man. It's the last Thursday for December. We're gonna have a show, man. So we definitely gonna have a good one, man. But first and foremost, before we get into the show, big shout out to my lovely wife, Takara. Y'all make sure y'all show her some love in the comments. You know she holds the channel down, man. She always holding the team down. So make sure y'all show her some love in the comments. And don't stop there. Be sure to show the channel some love as well. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so you can get notifications each and every time we drop a video on the channel. Housekeeping, make sure you follow us everywhere you can find us. You can find us on Morph Market. About to drop some snakes on Morph Market, man. So definitely be on the lookout for that stuff. Check us out on IG, Herp Collectors Network. Make sure you're following both pages. Check us out on Facebook as well. Then of course you can find Clutch Conversations as well as all the shows on the Herp Collectors Network. You can find them on major podcasting platforms. So definitely make sure you're tapping in with us there. And when you're tapping in with us there, please be sure to follow, rate, and review. That kind of stuff. It seems small, but it really helps us out, man. And we appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. Speaking of support, make sure you're supporting both these organizations that's helping protect our rights as reptile keepers. None other than USARK and USARK Florida. So definitely, man, check both of those organizations out. If you don't have a membership, go get your membership, drop your donation, do whatever you can. Make sure you spread the word. Everybody in the reptile industry should know about these organizations, and they should be supporting these organizations in some shape, form, or format. So definitely tap in. Like I say, the link is in the description of the video. We're going to pay some bills, and then we'll be right back.
Join Canova's Patreon today and get access to hundreds of hours of exclusive educational content designed to help you run a successful ball python business. Get insider information on the latest genetics, hot new combos, and market trends, learning directly from the world's leading ball python designer. With 5 benefits packed tiers, you may be asking yourself, which tier do I join, Bit Mike? Well, if you're on the fence, I'd recommend the student tier. When I first joined the Patreon almost 4 years ago, this is the tier that I started on, and it's only gotten better since. Art comes in many forms.
Guys, y'all have to bear with me here, man. I wish I knew what the heck was going on with these videos that I'm trying to play, but it's tripping, man. I don't know if it's playing for y'all. It's not playing for me. It played for me for like 1 second, and then the screen just go black. So I don't know if y'all got to see that or not, man. But big shout out to Canova. Make sure you join the Canova Patreon today. In fact, man, go check out the Canova page, IG page right now. They're giving away a free 1-month membership to the student tier of the Patreon. So go check that out, man. It's real simple to enter, and it's a lot of perks, man. So definitely go tap in with that. It's a great opportunity. If you've been kind of on the fence about joining the Patreon, this is a good opportunity to stick your toes in the water, man. So definitely go check that out, man. And make sure you tapping in with both the homies, Justin and Steven from Armless Angels, Ball Pythons, and Wetamorph Constrictors, man. You know they're working with some heat, DG Hypo Clown stuff, G-Stripe stuff, a little bit of Monarch, all that good stuff, man. So definitely go tap in with them, man, as well. Again, my apologies for the videos, man. It's tripping. I hope y'all can even hear me, man, because at this point, I don't know what the hell going on with it. See a lot of people in the comments, man. Let's see who we got in the building. What's good? What's good? Better up, better up. Hey, y'all make sure y'all check out the homie, man. He is doing his thing in the 15 minutes of lane contest, man. And he is either the leader or one of the leaders right now. So definitely, man, make sure you vote every single day that you can vote, man. The homie is doing his thing, man. Show him some support. We got Mike and Melissa in the building. What's good? What's good? What's good? Appreciate you coming out. We got the homie Dwight, the pie man. What's good? What's good? What up? What up? What up, homie? Appreciate you coming out. We got Tara in the building. What's good? What's good? The Pink Panther himself. What's good, Sammy? Appreciate you coming out. Hey, we got the sponsor in the building. What's good? Josh, MCBR, aka Man Tooth Captive Bred Reptiles. One of the dopest homies in the game, one of the dopest people in the game, period, point blank, man. So make sure you tapping in with him as well. And then, of course, we got the homie Herp Collectors Network representative, Double Clutch Patreon representative, the homie Ro. What's good? Hey, we're gonna stop it right there. We're gonna kick the intro, and then we will be right back. And fair warning, the video might trip for me, so I might just cut it off abruptly, man. But y'all stick with us.
Baby, baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor. I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire.
Yo, what's good, bro?
What's up, Mike? Thanks for having me on, man.
Man, thank you for coming, man. Long time overdue.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering. No, I'm just joking.
Like, what's up with that Mike guy? Like, what did I do to him? Hey,
well, you know, I don't ever reach out for podcasts and stuff like that. Like, you know, and I don't jump at the opportunity, but like I know they're important, you know, and I see how important they are, and I watch them now. I've learned a lot from just watching other people, you know, and what they have to say. So, it's something when I'm given the opportunity to do something, you know, especially something of this quality, I'm going to jump on it.
Appreciate it. I don't know if quality is deserved tonight, man. Did you see the video? Like, what was going on?
I did. I think it's on your end. I saw everything. I think your show looks good for everybody else. Yeah.
Okay, so it's just tripping for me, and I couldn't see it, so I didn't know what was going on. So I cut the intro short, man. So my bad for all that, man. That's all on me. For whatever reason, it's tripping. But yeah, all's well that ends well. The show must go on, man.
That's right.
Yeah, been looking forward to this all week. How's your week been going?
It's been good, man. I just definitely Christmas is here, so I had to pump the brakes on everything, and then just, you know, took a couple days, went shopping, got everything wrapped today. If I don't do that stuff, it'll be Christmas Eve, and I'm like, oh God, like I gotta start shopping. I have to like hyper focus on it and get it done, or it'll just haunt me forever.
Be right up on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you one of those people that like you leave your stuff up for a long time afterwards?
No, I want it down immediately. I like it up, but you know, it's just me, you know, and I put it up for the kids. Like, it's nice to have, you know, you want it. It feels like home when you have a Christmas tree up, you know. So I don't mind putting it up, but you know, it's in the way. I have a pretty small house, and we walk around that tree all the time, man. It's just in the way. After a while, after, you know, New Year's, I'm looking forward to getting it away.
So yeah, man, let's jump right into the discussion, man. So just to kind of set the tone a little bit, so give folks like some tidbits about your background and whatnot.
So as far as reptile stuff goes, I mean, I'm 50 now, so I got it at 18 years old, man. I moved out of my mom and dad's house, and they weren't into reptiles, so it wasn't long. You know, I was always into them. I liked them, and I had friends that had a couple snakes, you know, and I would go with them to get pinkies and stuff to feed, you know, like neighbor kids and stuff. So I knew about them, and I always thought they were cool as hell. So 18 years old, man, you know, if I had an extra $20-$30 after paying my bills in my little apartment, I would go get like a corn snake or something. You know what I mean? So and by the time I was 20, I started breeding a couple pair of colubrids, and I, you know, at 18, even I got a job. There was a really nice local reptile shop here. It was a big to-do. It was like a whole storefront, a real good exotic shop in Virginia Beach. They've been closed for quite a while now. There's another one that's really good now, but I worked there part-time. I worked full-time and worked there at night part-time. And just, man, the guy that managed it at the time was in the show circuit, and he was a breeder. So, and he sold dry goods, and whatever he bred did basically a big, dry goods table, supplies and snakes. And so I just started traveling to the shows at, 18 years old, man, or actually I was 20 years old. I was kind of traveling to Florida. It was Orlando at the time. Now it's Daytona.
Okay.
So at that point, I was behind a table at shows from that long ago, from 30 years ago. And I had my colubrids that I bred and could sell, so I got bit by that bug early, and I watched every single one of these big guys when they were really, really young, kind of take off and do what they did. And I was always just the, onlooker, hobbyist, loved everything, bought everything, started to really at that, my early 20s, I had a lot of different species, and I was trying to just keep monitors and just whatever, just unfocused. And it took me a long time of watching lots of people around me get successful, and I wasn't in it for that, especially at that time.
Right.
I didn't have a pot to piss in, really. If I had extra money, it went to feed my reptiles, and I worked at a store to basically buy reptiles and feeders. And that's been my passion for since then. And it's not left, it's stronger now than it ever was.
Hell yeah. I imagine at the time, like I know you was probably like learning stuff from that guy that you were working for at the time about all the different species. But it probably still was like hard, or at least challenging, you know what I'm saying, keeping like all those multiple species.
It was welcoming, you know what I mean? You say we have 30 years of future from that point, but at that time it was, being that age, I was just a sponge for information, and the guy at the time, he was a pretty aggressive, type A personality breeder, one of these guys that could do business and talk and sell. He was that type of dude. And he would, that's back when like it was, I don't even think King Snake was around. I think if there was, I didn't even have a home computer. It wasn't even really a thing in 93, 94, 95, that was pretty early. So there was just books, there was the Devagili books. We had a whole like book section for our customers. And it was like, take a book and read it every night, take home a book and read it, and then bring it back, and then go read the library, and that's how I learned.
I'm old enough to remember when the internet first came out.
Yeah. It was about that time. It was about that time that I might've had like a desktop with America Online, you know what I mean, on it. I might have had that, but there wasn't reptile pages and sites like that at that point, Yeah. So it was super fun, and nothing was expensive. I mean, there was expensive stuff, but that was stuff that was like Australian pythons and stuff that was like smuggled in. This was like heavy smuggling years. So those animals that were getting brought in, those fetched a lot of money. But there wasn't a lot of stuff within reach to people like me at that point. It was colubrids. Tons of stuff was affordable, within a few $100. And then as time went on, I would sell all my corn snakes and make a few grand. This was by the time King Snake came around, we're getting close to 2,000 or so. This was back when people would mail checks and money orders. There was no Venmo, no PayPal, none of that stuff. So I would just get checks and money orders in the mail on it, and I would ship their snakes out. A lot of USPS back then. We did that a lot. So
you guys have a lot of issues with shipping back then?
Not as much as you'd think. And I didn't, not as much as you'd think. Like we used like hot hands, hand warmers, like just really kind of figured it out. Cause we would at the reptile shop, we would get shipments in from California to all the import stuff. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of knew like how they packed. So we got kind of familiar with how to do it even early. And man, just thinking about these memories is pretty fun because I don't think about this stuff much. It's been a while. So yeah, I just had where I am now has started there, and literally I don't have like family money or inheritance or a business partner. I've never done that stuff. Not that it's bad, but I just kind of hand built every little thing from selling corns and skinks and whatever I bred at the time. And then buying into new stuff,
Why did you choose colubrids to breed at first?
I think at first because they were very affordable, when they were plentiful, they were everywhere. The store had there was every colubrid, like Mexican Black Kings, gray bands, there was some corn morphs, but it was like albinos and antares and snows. And they were $20, $30, $50. And like, that's something that I could afford, you know? And then it eventually got to like when I just worked there. I wouldn't even take a paycheck. I would just like cool animals would come in. You can kind of sign them off and pay for them out of your, yeah. It was one of those, like, it was like that. So I started at that point, you know, buying like more expensive pythons and, you know, a little bit better stuff, a little more exotic, you know, but I had years of breeding bearded dragons and, you know, corns and other rat snakes. I bred other North American rat snakes and stuff too. And I started getting into Asian rat snakes, and I was pretty heavily into colubrids and Asian rat snakes. And I did ball pythons then too, just normals and stuff. Had a little bit of everything, but like by the early 2000s. And then when morph ball pythons started getting shown online is when I was like, oh my God, you know, that was no bullshit. I was into the ball python thing from early on, like 2000, 2001. I had a bunch of money orders in a drawer from corn snake sales. I was selling like corn snakes for a few $100 back then. I was making some nice stuff at that point.
And that's a lot.
Yeah. So like, it wasn't hard. Like I was a young dude, you know, single, had my own place, and was just making thousands of dollars, you know, just selling little colubrids on the side and through King Snake, you know. And I went and bought an albino male ball python. Just great. I was a broke dude selling colubrids, man. And that was like, what am I doing? Like, I was like, I want this, you know what I mean? I could see, I knew I could breed it. I knew I could do it, but like, you know, I really did kind of dip my toe in heavy. I thought for me real early, because I was watching everybody around me. Like, these guys were like buying houses and like boats, like you're watching these guys, but I was never a guy with a business background. That was intimidating to take on. I don't think I had the confidence, to be honest, to jump in that risky and like take on that kind of stuff. I didn't come from that kind of background, I guess, you know. That was really scary to do. So I watched all these guys for years, you know, Barchek, you name it, McCurley, all those guys, like, really young guys, like starting out. And so I've seen the business grow. So I've always known this is not going anywhere. And I'm not worried about everybody that's really panicking about the market. Like, I totally understand people that have invested a lot of their money and maybe have unrealistic expectations or sold those expectations. I get it. You know, I get why people would be salty about that. But man, this from where I've been involved in this industry from early days to now, like, it is awesome still. I'm doing good. Like, you know, if you want to talk about like ball python morphs, like that is hard. It's hard to be a big name and be really profitable and sell over all these other guys that have been doing it for a long time. That's going to be really challenging for a young guy to come in. It doesn't matter how much money you got, but it's a lot. It's a lot to, not only if you have money, but if you can produce the animals, you got to really like it a lot. You have to really like it a lot. Like, you have to like it whether you're making money or not. And if you don't, I just recommend this stay a hobby for you, period, you know?
Yeah, because it's a grind. Like, it's a lot of work that goes with it. And you got to really like be willing to put in the work to get through it. Because I mean, I haven't been in nearly as long as you, but like, even I've seen like good times and bad times. And,
sure.
I mean, whether that's like from the industry, whether that's from like odds, I mean, it's just all kind of things that are like high and lows. We was talking about that the other day on the show too. But anyway, there's highs and lows, you know what I mean? And if you don't,
but isn't that what kind of like,
exactly,
it's an addiction, sort of like, that's like a gambling addiction almost. It's the high and low of, but you know what I mean? I'm doing it, and I have a whole lot more control than a blackjack table, you know? And there's a lot of the whole start to finish, and the sales and pictures and the self-marketing and the relationships you build through this community is all you can do to establish yourself and be successful. And if you do the bare minimum, and you're not like I was, my first 10 years was like, let's just watch everybody else do this and make something of themselves while I'm, you know, not that I wasn't, but I was doing it at my pace. I did it at my pace, and a pace that I was comfortable doing. And hats off to people that can really freaking take that risk back then and not have an idea what they're doing and just go hard. But that's what it took for those guys to be real successful. And, not all of them did, some of them are still around doing it today. And, but if you are smaller, you can stay smaller, you can still stay small, and you can put money in ball pythons and you can make money and you can sell them, but you ain't going to be able to do it just without really just like going on podcasts like this and putting yourself out and becoming known and meeting everybody and showing up, traveling. You do have to do all that stuff for someone to want to drop thousands of dollars on a snake from you, especially when there's so many other people they could buy from.
Absolutely.
You know?
So from your perspective, like when would you say like it kind of clicked in your mind in terms of, hey, I want to do this as a business? Like it's still a hobby, but kind of more of a business mindset.
It was totally based on my life and the demands that it needed. Like, I got, towards my early 30s, I got married. I started having kids. So now, it's not just playing around with snakes anymore. And I know I can make money doing it. I was making money doing it before that. But to really hammer down and I watched my friends come in and just, just say Steve and Bob and people like them come in and just absolutely kill it right under my feet. And I'm like, what the, you know what I mean? It takes stuff like that. And it takes mentors like that to help figure out and just help motivate and figure out a path. I had to learn from someone else, and watching that. And then having that demand at home, it really pushed me even at the fire department job to get promoted, get this reptile thing, and it wasn't even till and I'm divorced now, but the time married, I could tell that this reptile thing was not going to really, it wasn't a real problem, but there wasn't like a support system for it to where I know I could really grow. Cause I knew then that I'm going to retire from a job. I'm going to be in my 50s. I'm going to breed snakes and I'm going to do what all these guys are doing full time. That's been in my head for 30 years. So it's that my goals weren't being, supported at all for that kind of stuff. So that was a really good move for me. And that's when it wasn't after I had full rights to buy anything. I want to do anything with my reptiles after I was single, that I really went aggressive. That's when COVID happened. So I was really well rooted before COVID happened. So when that did happen, I made really everybody did. You've heard millions of stories about it, but what I didn't do is just pocket all that money. I put a lot of that back in projects that were good. I thought, and I was at that point, I had seen what I kind of knew most everybody for the most part and know what direction they're going with projects. And I just eventually figured out a path to take that wasn't, a path that everybody else was taking. And that's hard, and I can't teach anybody that. You have to just really pay attention for a long time and figure out, if that's what you want to do, if you want to be, if you want to take ball pythons to that level where you're not selling pets anymore and you're staying at the high end, it's tough, man. It's a really hard thing. There's no thing that anybody could tell someone to make them successful. There's no bullet points really, other than you got to work at it really hard.
Talk about some of the challenges for you in that space, or the challenges for anybody.
Man, the challenges are a mile long. Just production, just losing focus, having emergencies at home, not having support at home. There's mites, RI, all that shit's real. I've dealt with all of that stuff. I've had RI issues. I've had adults die. I've had RI spread from breeding before. This was years back now, but mite stuff would pop up but going to shows and bringing mites home, that stuff sucks, and there ain't too many of those losses and headaches before you really figure out okay, you got to start making some phone calls to people and really figure out how to get that shit nailed down. You know what I mean? And once it's done, it's really easy to keep it out now, very easy. But there, at a time when there wasn't a whole lot of obviously quarantine was, is a thing, and pairing it, we're always somewhat careful of that, but we didn't know much early on about that stuff, and I don't know. There was no way to test really for nido. There, as a vet could test the bacteria of a saliva, but bacterial RI, like that's, that stuff, a lot of that stuff goes over my head. But now that I'm getting into chondros and stuff now, I know a whole lot more about that shit than I used to, And so, yeah, like when you're like people now talking about hard times or losing an animal, it's a hard time. Like, dude, I've lost so much stuff, come and go. Like there's a lot of wins and there's a lot of losses. There's a lot of both, and you got to it's realistic to expect both.
100%, man. There's so many variables out there.
Oh man, yeah.
Dealing with live animals, man, just a lot of
outages and
go
stuff.
wrong.
Yeah,
exactly. Like it's just so many things that can go wrong. Like sometimes I'll be like, if it ain't one thing, it's another. But you gotta, like, you get frustrated with it, but you just gotta move through it. It's when you let it stack on you is when it kind of get hard to like. So you gotta have that mentality to push through it. But that comes back to what we were saying earlier. It's got to be something that you want to do.
It is, and the failure shouldn't be like, man, this just, I don't care if you're into football or whatever you're into. If your team keeps losing, it's not like you're going to not like football anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was this close this year, bro. I'm not God,
sorry. I'm sure it happens to people a lot, but maybe a bad example. But like, just the fact that I came in so young and money was definitely not like a motivator, truly. Now today I get a taste of it. It's very, not that it's everything, but it definitely, you think about when you're breeding snakes, if you want to produce something. I'm at a point now where I've dialed myself into where I can make stuff that I can make stuff that I can't go buy. And I don't have to go buy the next ball python or the next morph, because the stuff that I'm pairing is producing animals that I want and that I can't go buy. So I'm just trying to produce stuff that I want to buy, you know what I mean? But nobody, I'm trying to stay ahead at that level in the projects that I'm in.
So talk about the projects, especially what you invested in like around the COVID time. So was it DG Puzzle?
I didn't invest into DG Puzzle. I kind of handmade that one. So, but yeah, 2019, pre-COVID, I just, well, up to then, I pretty much would spend everything I'd make at every show on new animals, like, and cover the show. And what I'd make, I did it forever. I've done it forever. So I bought Desert Ghost stuff from, Fireball was there right across from me. So this was pre DG hype, that wasn't, DGs then were $400 on the table, females, like with yearlings. So I picked up a stack of Desert Ghost animals. Some of them were like, there was a clown project with it. And then I picked up a single gene male puzzle in 2019, same show. Like that was like what I bought. I got that female within a year to lay a clutch with that puzzle male and made double hets. So I had visions that early on pre-COVID of these projects that weren't being done and that I could, I could kind of carve a path in, or I hope to at least. And it just worked out. That project worked out great. I raised those double hets up, and at 2 years, those double hets both had laid, and I got a visual male within 2 years of making the double hets. I got a visual male. DG pastel DG puzzle out of 4 eggs, super lucky, double het. So, and then within 7 months, I raised that male up and bred his mom, and then a bunch of other, he bred. He was just a workhorse. He bred all my puzzle stuff, and I had been buying. I bought a lot of puzzle project animals from COVID money, Stranger Clown stuff, Desert Ghost Clown visual stuff, and these were all like, this is when they were like good, good money. Right. And so just the projects that I really was admiring, and this is before the Justin video, before Desert Ghost was cool. So just as a good timing in my part, but being in 30 years, it just happened to be a nice little window that worked out for me. And then once Justin hyped up DG, and man, like they went from a $300 female to $1,000 female, a baby. So I just knew, and puzzle was just to the point where Sean Bradley was already just got out, and everybody was like, okay, now it's like, now I want to work with puzzle. And I'm not going to even talk about that situation, but
yeah, I've definitely heard about it.
Yeah. So, and I just knew like that, I just knew that project would be hot. I'd never seen a visual, at that point, but I did. Will Morose had a visual that he'd sold like that exact same time. Josh bought that DG puzzle from Will from Canada. I literally hatched it within like a few weeks of him buying that mail. So it was just a really lucky time. And another good project that I did was, and I haven't hit it yet, very close, is paint puzzle. So I made double hets of that the first time I got a paint female up to size, which was, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago now. Bred, a puzzle combo. It was like a pastel spot nose puzzle male. This is all stuff that I bought with COVID money. Mm-hmm. So I made double hets of those, and those animals within 2 years were like 2,000 grams. One of them laid 11 eggs at 2 years old. 11 eggs, big female at 2 years old. And that's so great. I made, and all 3 of those double het females went. And so I had, I sent, Charlie did me a solid and tested that stuff for paint back then. And even though the test was a little squirrely. So but I had paint het puzzle stuff, puzzle het paint stuff that I held back from those. And now they're a year old, and those males are breeding. So I got like 3 males that are, homozygous for one and het for the other, that are working these double het girls. And I'm spreading it out throughout my puzzle and paint stuff that I have raised up. So I have a clutch on the ground for visuals, for double visuals. I mean, hopefully I have those hatched by the next Southeast show, so I could show one off, but they might not be ready to take to that. So yeah, that's a project that I think people are waiting on. The paint stuff.
Has anyone hit the paint puzzle yet?
No, not yet. There was somebody that posted one on Morph Market that's definitely not one. If anybody wants to go look, everybody can probably agree. But the paint clown is hot. I love it. I love the one Justin posted. He had one at the Southeast show, just a double visual with no other genes. I loved it. And then the stuff, forgive me, I'm terrible with names, but the paint puzzle stuff that was just posted and the projects going forward, or not puzzle, paint clown stuff. Mm-hmm. I just want to do, since that's already kind of got wheels and people are working that pretty good, and I am too. I have double hets for that and triple hets, but I'm just going to try to work the paint puzzle as hard as I can. I'm not going to spread myself thin with the clown since it's already being worked as hard. I'll just stay with puzzle more so and just play with that. I think that's going to have a lot of wheels, and paint in general, paint combos. How Desert Ghost hasn't been made yet. I think it's going to be a lot of fun with that project. And I got a lot of double hets. Yeah, go ahead.
You got double hets for the paint DG stuff?
Oh yeah. Yep. Double hets, triple hets. Yeah. I've been hitting that stuff. Double hets and triple hets. And I have triple hets with Xanthic DG puzzle. So I'm working, just trying to do everything I can and trying to breed those triple het males out, test that stuff. I'm just trying to really be aggressive with getting as far ahead as I can with those projects and getting genes in. And it's really all for my own personal interest and what I can hatch for my own holdbacks. And I just know that at some point I'm going to have stuff for sale to everybody, because that's a project that's, man, look at that DG Xanthic clown. And that I'm pretty sure most people agree that's one of the most impressive kind of like combos out there right now. Wait till we see the puzzle version though. Not to compare clown and puzzle all the time, but in this scenario, man, it's going to be awesome. So those are projects that I'm most excited about. As long as there's a bunch of other stuff in there too, some pied stuff and other clown stuff that, that isn't, but I did hit Hypo DG clown stuff this year, and I hit 3 triple visual males.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I have one of those I've been really feeding up to trying to get him to hopefully breed in the spring, but we'll see.
Any codons for those males?
And so the triples, no, I have fire in 2 of them, and just no codoms in the other male, which is kind of good because I have so much stuff in some of the females I have growing up. I don't want to keep overlapping, stuff that'll make white snakes. Yeah. So I do have genes in females growing up. I don't have a ton, but there's, some dark genes, some leopard, spot nose, all kinds of stuff like that. But with having triple visuals now, the way I'll be breeding is just to get what codoms I already have in that project with hypo in now. So
Gotcha.
all the DG clown stuff that I've kind of been raising up is going to just be, Xanthic or hypo or something added in down the road. So, and that's what I'm doing with the DG puzzle stuff too, is trying to get as much hypo and paint and Xanthic and stuff in these projects that are really going to be worthwhile, and then layer in what codoms I can.
Question for you on the DG paint stuff. I was talking with Matt from Ebony and Ivory Reptiles about this the other day. Is DG paint, do you feel like the DG is going to clean up the paint and like take away some of the dirtiness?
That's what I heard. It might have been MJ or somebody that mentioned it or thought that. I don't see. I mean, DG does have some reduction in pattern to it and cleans up some of the busiest stuff, but with the puzzle, I mean, it's not reduced, and I'll have to pull up. I should have sent you some stuff in advance to show you some differences, but the DG puzzle stuff is not reduced to where it's going to hide pattern or impinge on the pattern at all. But as far as paint goes, I don't know. I'll have to see. I think it would reduce it some, but if you look at my paint stuff, it is so noisy. All I think it's going to do is just help with the contrast. It might reduce some of that noise, but it's so much going on that add yellow belly. Yeah, it's going to, so what? I think it's going to be awesome. I really do.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
And with hypo DG paint, come on, man. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, paint is a hell of a project.
You just don't need to add a ton of different codoms, because we're already seeing some of these dark gene codoms and stuff, making them look more like a highway or a freeway and cleaning them. You know what I mean? So we have to try them though. We don't know what it's all going to look like. So,
right. And leopard doesn't work well with paint, right?
I think anything that's a really heavily dominating pattern morph is not probably the right one. I haven't seen a lot of spot nose, but like anything real dominating, like pinstripes, something like that. Leopard's a real dominant one. I haven't seen a leopard paint. There might be some out there to look at, but I know like anything real heavily dominated pattern wise, I don't know that I want to. But puzzle, clown work good. So I just have a feeling that puzzle will probably follow suit and have a lot of. You should be able to see it both in the same snake pretty well, in my opinion, because there is a paint Krypton out there,
How's that look?
And it's amazing. It's amazing. So based on that picture, I'm all in. But not that Kryptons and puzzles are that similar, but it's similar enough. You should get a good ballpark of how it should react.
Hell yeah.
Especially once you start layering stuff in,
Are you bringing any paint project stuff to Sear?
I have some stuff hatched. I'm waiting. I have some sheds. I have paint stuff hatched, but it's like Posset puzzle. So I just got to send some sheds in. So I might have some paint. We'll have some paint, and then I might have a couple paint puzzle animals for available. And I might, man, if that clutch hatches, it might, it could have some yolk still on it, and I might bring it to show off. I'll have Bob take it home with him or something. I don't know.
That'd be funny. That'd be hilarious. And I want to take a real quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back. Hopefully everything works well. I'm just trust that it does and try to time the stop on it.
I have faith in you.
All right.
Known for his innovative approach to genetic shed testing and top quality ball pythons, Grey Rider Reptiles also excels in exceptional customer service and responsiveness. With a quick turnaround time, Charlie ensures you get the service you want and need. Visit shedtesting.com to explore his offerings and experience the best in the business. Don't miss out. Head to shedtesting.com today and unlock the power of your breeding projects.
Peace and love, family. We invite you into the heart of our serenity, Ancestral Royal Pythons. At Ancestral Royal Pythons, we're not just breeders, we're nurturers of love and growth. Each of our high-end ball pythons is a tribute to the grandeur of the natural world and our dedication to quality. Reach out today today and bring one of our creations into your home. This is Ancestral Royal Pythons. Your journey begins here.
Passion. Some are born with it, others chase it their whole lives. At MCBR, animals aren't just a business, they're our legacy. Driven by obsession, defined by quality. At MCBR, the passion drives us, the quality defines us. Our motto is simple: live your dream. For years, he worked in silence, shaping projects few could even imagine. A figure once hidden is now stepping into the light. The vault is opened, the path is revealed. At the center of it all, Barry Swope. Elusive propagations. From the shadows to the spotlight, the vision is undeniable. Hypo Puzzle King!
Big shout out to the sponsors. Appreciate you. Looks like everything went perfectly there.
It did. I have to say, I love that Barry Swope ad. I got to figure out how to get something like that. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. He killing it.
Dude, yeah, I love him.
Game. All the stuff he worked. Like he's one of those guys too that just really loving and really enjoy like what he's doing.
Dude, yeah.
Every time we chat, man, it's like a real like passionate conversation that you can just hear it in his voice, like how excited he is about the projects, the things he's thinking about. Like it's like calculus to him. So yeah,
same. And him and he vends with Jason Kittinger, and they're at Tinley. They're right across. We're literally right across the aisle from each other in our row, and so we're just back and forth. I was like he's looking at mine, I'm looking at his. And, yeah, same thing. We really you could tell we're both super into like a lot of the same shit. And so like we haven't really done, we figured we would probably do some trading at some point. But I think we're just both like, we're just going to make the same shit with our own projects anyway. It's some time, you know what I mean? So he's putting DG and his hypo stuff the long way, and I'm doing the same with the hypo and my DG stuff. So we'll make a lot of some cool shit together, you know?
Hell yeah. So speaking of shows, man, I know you've been vending shows for a hot little minute. What all shows have you vending?
Well, I'll tell you a little story about what not to do for some of these people. Man, I definitely took on too much for a little while and burned myself out pretty good doing too many damn shows with too many animals. So I have backed up a bit. Like last year, I started trying to figure out like where to start reducing stuff. So like reduced my clutches a little bit. I went from like almost 60 clutches down to about 40 this past year. And just, you know, I've spent, and this was on purpose. I mean, I really wanted to go out, figure out what shows were worth doing, you know, and hit them hard. And I did. And I spent several years hitting a lot of Repticons and a lot of other shows on the East Coast, small shows and big shows. But I really found, and some of them were great. They weren't all bad, but I can't do that and work a full-time career here and have kids and raise them. It's just, there's not enough time in the day for all that.
Right.
So, but I figured out, you know, and with the market kind of softening a little bit too with ball pythons, it was a little easier. Like I'd rather do the shows that I consistently make money at. I don't care how much overhead it is or how far it is. If it's something that thousands and thousands of people go in there with money to buy snakes, and we know what shows those are, I'm going to be there. And so there's only right now 5. It's the 2 Southeast, 2 Tinleys, and Daytona right now. And those are going to be like non-negotiable. And then if there's some good shows, and I was there, I'm not opposed to doing other shows if I have time, you know, but it's been nice. And what I did this year, when I would normally would have done a show, a Repticon or whatever, I would just stay home and I would get on Morph Market. And I would just make sure everything's updated, make sure weights are updated, put new pictures on, put some sales up, throw a few auctions on. I would make well more than my average at the show that I would have done if I had gone, you know. So it just made a lot more sense to me that like, it's not all about traveling and burning wheels off your vehicle. And, you know, you can do this from your home if you apply yourself that equally that way. If you put energy into online sales, you can make them. But it's more than just popping some ads on Morph Market and chilling. It's a lot more than that.
Talk about some of the other things you did for the online sales.
It's what I notice is just making changes and posting new ads, deleting old ads, putting up new ads, being active on there, somehow and just post it, being competitive. You have to be, look at what your competitors are pricing stuff up and post some sales and make adjustments. That stuff would get me weekly sales I would just kind of keep my store full of what inventory I had, and the weights would be 3 months old. The prices would be too much because I didn't really shop too much. That's the stuff that I would make changes on. And just, man, make phone calls, get in people's messages, like do it. You have to let people know, post on social media, post a story every day, post the animals you just posted on Morph Market, get it in your stories, run it through, have people share it. You got to do all that if you want to but how much work is it to pack all those displays and drive them 5 hours away and set it up?
Right. That's a lot more work.
It's a lot more work. Yeah, it is. And you could take 3 or 4 hours and sit in front of your computer and in your snake room taking pictures and stuff. And that was kind of my test this past year, and it worked. So it just made sense to me that, oh, let me do the shows that this was kind of what I figured. If people are buying plane tickets to come to the show from overseas or from the other coast just to see the show, then that's a show that I want to come to, because people are taking it serious. People are showing up there to buy stuff. If they're not showing up there to buy it, they're showing up there to see it. You know what I mean? And people are buying plane tickets and driving across the country. You're pretty serious about buying animals. They're not just looky-loos. So it just that's where I'm at. I'm not above selling pets to people at all, but after 30 years of that, man, I kind of want to do a little bit more or less than that, and a little more, the higher end designer stuff, a little more appointment stuff that they're not burning you out with a million questions. I'm not above that stuff, and I'm more than welcome to talk to people about how to take care of stuff, but I can't do it all day, every day. It's all consuming when you really a goal is to sell a lot of $200 and less snakes, especially online.
Yeah.
I like to bring shows, and I'll talk all day at shows about how to take care of stuff, but that's where you got to kind of draw the line, figure out what works. If you are new, if you're newer, and that there's nothing wrong with making pet quality animals, the $200, $300 animals, and selling them. There's a market for that all day long. There's so many people that can afford those, and there's a good market to do that. If the high end stuff doesn't work out, I'm not opposed to going back to that either. I like that too, but it's nice to get in a position after all this time to kind of carve a path where you can depend on your projects to sell, because they're hot. They're hot for a reason. They just, everybody kind of agrees that those animals are worth this or that, and it's nice getting to the point where I could breathe a little easier. It's nicer to sell a $1,000 snake than or a $5,000 snake every once in a while than it is to burn through 50 or 60 pet snakes that every weekend. It shows. I did both, and one of them is a whole lot more work.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's crazy how much more work having all those clutches are, especially when it all hits you at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
I kind of wish I would have had that problem, or at least kind of sorted that problem this year. I didn't have a whole bunch of hardly anything hatching.
That can be good and bad, I guess.
Yeah, I had a rough season this past one, so I hope the next one is a lot better. But the season before that, a lot of our stuff came at the same time.
Yeah.
I had probably about 15 or so clutches hatching in the same window, and that's a lot for me.
It is. I don't do that. I don't get that ever. I don't know how it works. Well, I know if I wanted to have things in a small window, I know how to do that. You can cycle these animals with food and temperature, and get them. And a lot of people do it. A lot of people that live up north, that have such an extreme temperature situation where the room naturally is going to just cycle them. And if you could get all your ball pythons to probably cycle within the 3 month window and lay your eggs within a 2-3 month window. But mine, man, I will have 4 clutches 1 week, 1 clutch this week, a week without a clutch, 2 clutches here. And it kind of goes year round like that. 12 months out of the year, and I have 50, 60 clutches. There's just kind of an influx. I'll have a heavy moment and then there'll be just sporadic clutches hatching and laying, and then I'll have another little wave in the fall. It's weird that way. And I haven't shut my incubator off in a while, years. There's always something in there. Yeah, there's always something popping in there.
Yeah,
I just have to go in and I'll switch out the fan and I'll switch out the heater and stuff like that before it goes bad.
What kind you running?
Man, I just did a closet. I'd have like a small 3-foot closet, floor to ceiling. I put an oil heater in there, wire shelving, fan at the top, fan at the bottom. If you want to, I could make it humid, put water in there, but I just kind of keep water bottles in there, keep some space filled up. Lots of tubs. So, man, it holds temp. There's a helix outside the door and, 2 different thermostats so there's a backup plexiglass door on the closet so I can see right through it.
Nice.
It's perfect. It's just a converted closet, but it's a whole space heater in there. There's a whole ass space heater in there to heat it, but the thermostat's doing it fine. It's a total like ad lib way to build something, but it's like, I've done this so long, like this, I know how to make that stuff work. It works perfect. I've never had anything go bad in that incubator that wasn't infertile.
Nice. Hell yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably the first time I heard of that, but that's dope.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've seen people do full room incubators, and it's really the same thing. Like you could do it to any bedroom, even if you put a couple space heaters in a bedroom and you shelve it out, or a small utility room or whatever. And then you have fans circulating the air and you have space heaters on a nice thermostat that keeps it a nice accurate temp. It'll do, it'll keep that room within a half a degree if it's insulated well.
Nice.
You can just do a whole room that way and walk right in it and set your eggs in there. A lot of the bigger breeders do stuff like that. I've seen.
Yeah, I know Justin got like the walk-in incubator.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So similar thing, but it doesn't have to be that high tech. You can, but as long as you don't have your equipment running forever, man, and not, just burning up, because fans don't run forever. They burn up. You got to make sure you're changing stuff out.
I been running my incubator for over a year now, so I'm gonna have to take a look at the fan soon.
Oh yeah.
I got one clutch in there right now, which it actually pipped today. And so I got one clutch and I got like one girl that's about to lay, and I need to do some ultrasounding to see like where everybody else at. This usually, like historically, when I was kind of like on my normal cycle, this time of year is like when I was wrapping stuff up, and then like the beginning of the year and whatnot. I didn't have like a whole bunch of activity, but then once you get to that like August to November, December time frame, that's like when everything was coming for me.
Yeah, it's a good bad thing, man. It would overwhelm me just because of like, there's a lot of moving parts to my life. There's only so many days I have free for snakes. And like, if I have a whole day where I'm just separating clutches and getting hundreds of hoppers, like I'm like, usually that stuff is like a 30-minute thing. Like, okay, I have a clutch to set up, done. And then everything else. But like you'd have a couple of days of that.
Yeah.
15, 20 clutches hatching in the same week.
And then if you got like some problem feeders, you got to like take some extra time with, like that can add up too.
It sucks. Yeah. You got to figure out, like, for me to figure out a system of like something that I need to go through 3 or 4 different, and I have a little system I've set up. When I went to Justin's once, and he had like kind of like he had his baby set up, I think on paper or bedding or something. And I was like, he had him on paper, but he has everything else on bedding. I was like, why do you put him on paper? He's like, well, it's one more step that I can change for them to make, to get them to feed. So if you have this set up this way, you offer them food they don't eat, you can go to, bedding, then see if they'll eat. If they don't eat, then you can go to this size tub or whatever, whatever process you have. So my process is, clear shoebox on paper. So that's where they'll start. And if they eat there, great. They'll stay that way for a bit. If they don't eat there, they get bedding. And if they don't eat, or like cocoa chip. And if they don't eat there, they'll get a blacked out tub on cocoa. You can do, and so if they don't eat all 3 of those, and I'll go pups, mice, soft furs, none of that, then they get assist fed. But you can't do that, but to so many animals, and you have to have like maybe a rack over here of assist feed animals that need some special attention, just because it's easy to lose track of stuff if you have, a couple hundred babies in a big wall, right? You know what I mean? Like I have 120 slots. That's all I can keep at once. But I mean, that takes me a long time to go through that and give everything attention. If they need, assist feeds, I mean, you need to almost, you just got to like, I'll put stickers on stuff,
Mm.
it just kind of, if they didn't eat, I put a sticker, and that way I can go back, and anything in that rack didn't eat, I see stickers and I can take those and move them and put them in a different area that, that can give them a little special attention. So instead of bouncing all around, just organizing the chaos a little bit has been something that's, I still learn. I'm still making little changes to my organization and to make things smoother and faster.
I had a guy tell me one time, in his first season, they had to assist feed like almost 200 snakes.
Dude, there's something up with
That's
there's something up there.
like that just sounds crazy. It sounds unbelievable, but
Yeah,
it's true. Like it's something
that sucks. That would suck. Well, I mean, maybe that was a big, he's out of thousands of them. Maybe there was, I can't imagine.
I would have been done, bro. Like my first season, I got a assist feed 200 snakes. That would have been my first and last season.
Yeah, I would have figured, I don't know. I would have really hit the books and figured out something else, because that takes time, and it's frustrating. You got to have patience. Well, it's not just time, it's patience.
Yeah, patience too.
But you gotta forget about how long things take and pull your patience in. And be like, okay, this like get the snake, get a meal in it, and then not worry about how long it takes. You really have to, or you're gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
And now that I'm dipping my toe into chondros, I'm not hatching them yet, but it's coming close. I have a gravid female now, and if all goes well, I'll have some baby chondros here in the next couple of months, hopefully. But that's gonna, I've been doing my homework well, and I know that's gonna be a little more, obviously more challenging than getting ball python started. But
For sure.
I'm not the challenges at this point. Like I want that. That's what's fun. I want something new to challenge me. That's part of it for me. It's not just about like doing it fast. It's about I want that to happen because it's like something new, and I like the fact that it's not super easy. It's not fun if it's easy to me, That's why ball pythons they're fun, because it's like there's a lot of instant gratification, or it seems to be more instant gratification with ball pythons because things seem to happen faster, younger. There's more of it. There's more reps. You hatch more clutches. You can't just be pulling tubs out of your incubator with chondro clutches of eggs and just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take care of that later. So I kind of like that it's more, I guess, more of a fine focus on it. I like that about it, And it's not a time constraint thing. You're not in a rush. The value of those animals, there's nothing. They're not dropping by the minute.
Yeah, it's because of like all this like hurdles and stuff, like barriers to entry, essentially.
That's what's attractive to it to me, is because the ball python thing, as fun as it is, I've been doing it a long time, and now to the point it's so aggressive to stay ahead of morphs, that you have to feed stuff so much and get it to size so fast to be competitive. And that's what we're all really doing at that level. We're trying to get them, males and females, to breed as fast as they can, and that's not a fun thing for me. It's like, that's stress.
Is the 2-year turnaround time that you discussed earlier, is that normal for you? Or was that
it's what it's not, you can't expect that, obviously. It's just like, right. I try to put, there's not everything. I can't do everything on that schedule, but there's certain projects that if it's something that's like I want to focus on enough, I do feed them to where they have the size and they have follicles and all that by that age, generally, if they take with the feeding regimen, and a lot of them will, and some of them won't. Some of them will just like, I don't want to eat that much. And not all of them are going to want to eat that much.
Yeah. Like, I've only gotten a girl on eggs like quick like that once. And she's actually a girl that I produce here. Do you find that girls you produce, you have better luck with?
100%. And I don't go at this point in the game, man, I'm not buying animals hardly ever. Like, it's rare at this point for me to need something for my projects, but yeah, I hatch them myself, and man, you get them from, once they shed, the ones that eat really good right off the rip, I just offer those food at first, like twice a week. And then once they're just like really hitting it good. And then I'll go like 3 times a week and, smaller food items. You get some of those, man, you could just almost give them a small food item every day until they don't eat it. And then if they don't eat it, okay, let me wait 2 days, see if they'll eat another one. And that's aggressive, but it's so crazy. Like they just are like, they expect it. You open that tub, they're like, I know I ate yesterday, but I want to eat again. You're not giving them big meals, but when you calculate the weight of all you fed them in that time frame, it's astronomical what they've taken in and processed and grown on. And they're opportunistic, and it's not, it's not really, I don't know that, there's a lot of people that would completely disagree with that's abuse of the animal, or they have opinion on that. But that's what ball python morph breeding at that level is. We want males breed, the morphs lose value fast, and we want to get the best value out of that animal we bought or raised. And that's the ugly side of it. And that's what attracts me more to some other projects, because I don't have to have that kind of, that pace. It's more relaxing. Chondros feel relaxing. They're on a perch. You can spray them. It's just, when you look at them and interact with them, and you're not trying to pound them full of food and get them on a clutch immediately like that. Just that, that it just feels relaxing to not have to rush those animals and just let it happen when it happens. You know what I mean? And the fact that, and the reason why is because it doesn't matter how long it takes, is those animals are still going to be really valuable, and you're not going to have to compete with everybody to sell that mutation and worry about what it sells for. So that all that stuff's just out of the equation. And that's a nice part of chondros that I like.
So talk about some of the negative things that kind of that competitive nature of the ball python industry, like some things outside of that. Like, what are some other things that you see that could be labeled like negative?
I don't know. Well, I guess I keep a really good quality circle of friends, man. Like if I hear a lot of suspect stuff, there's just a lot of D-bags out there. That's a negative part of ball pythons. Like, it's a huge market. I mean, and that encompasses a lot of good and a lot of bad. And so within even the high end stuff, man, like there's still people ripping people off, and there's just so much of that. Not so much now. I mean, I think the internet's great at exposing that. So if you have an internet presence and you can pay attention, then you can probably steer clear of that stuff. But there's more of that. There's probably more misinformation. There's so many more new people getting into it that don't know much about it and getting bad information. So there's just a lot of that. And then so when customers come to you at shows, they've heard so much bad info from other people, that you can't not always undo. So you get a lot of that. And then you get a lot of inner turmoil and a lot of drama within breeders. There's just so many of them, and there's so much money involved. And you hear somebody sold this for that. There's a lot of that goes on that you can't get too caught up in if you want to stay sane and stay in this. You got to understand that your buddy that you're homies with might undersell you on a project. Like,
do you care about that? Like being undersold on a project or somebody pricing?
You can't. If you do, like, it's figure out how to sell your animals still. Like, it's going to happen, it's just them being, if they do, it's just them having a better customer base and having a better closing statement or whatever they were able to do. It's not all price. It's not all price, because I could sell stuff for whatever the hell somebody offers me too, but getting out there and getting all the customers to approach you and send you the messages is what it's about. Having people come to you and even make an offer is what it's about, instead of going to somebody else,
Hell yeah. So you talked earlier about like having a good friend group. Like, so talk about the value of building relationships in this industry, whether that's with other breeders and stuff like that, customers, all that kind of stuff.
I think I don't know that I could put enough emphasis on how valuable it is, because if you don't, and I'm a kind of a loner guy. Like I live alone, and I don't really socialize a ton at home when I'm not at shows. Kind of do my own thing. I'm at work. It's me and my kids. But at shows, and it's not something I do because it's valuable, but like that's where all the people that are into reptiles is the people that I'm friends with and interested in. And you can learn, befriend people that you look up to that are doing what you respect it, and you're like, you could benefit some from these friendships. There's nothing wrong with that, but be genuine and not using people. But if you want to be a certain way, surround yourself with those people, and just become friends with them and do business with them, and don't annoy them, and don't be, it's not hard. All these people are normal, regular people that people like you and I can go talk to. And it's not, people overthink it, people really do. But making those friendships, ball pythons or whatever species, you're going to get better access to better animals. You're going to get better customer service. You're going to just have a better access to information that you might not have if you're just kind of looking at Facebook groups with random people and they're giving you advice. You're going to find somebody that you can tell is doing business well and is well liked and has good reviews and they've been established a long time. Can't find much dirt on them. There's a reason for that, and learn from those people. Don't learn from people that are failed and are salty and are upset about the market. Why would you reach out for advice for people that are angry at this and, salty about whatever has gone on in the past, whatever that is. I just think the expectations get so unrealistic with this, that
you mean like the expectations of like how far you can take like the ball python business,
all of it, of like who gets successful and who gets on the podcast. And there's a lot of just jealousy shit that goes under the surface with people that aren't meeting the mark that they want to meet, but you just focus on me really well. Focus on me really well. That's all you can do.
You got to put blinders on for some of that stuff.
You put blinders on, but you don't want to be ignorant to it, because you do want to know what's going on. You want to know that it's good to know the dirt, and you're good to know the negative stuff out there so you can avoid it.
Yeah, you just don't want to let it get you off your game.
No, you can't focus on
too much.
No, sir.
Exactly.
No, because that's infectious.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We used to call like at work people that like brought like that bad vibes, energy vampires.
Sucks the energy out of the room, man.
Yeah,
it does. And when you surround yourself with people that don't go that route, you know what I mean? That just, it's a bad day, man. We all can agree it's a bad day, but let's get in tomorrow and we're going to do a good job. You know what I mean? Like that mindset that just stays positive and pushes forward. Like you have to have that. And if it's about, you ain't going to be mad at this unless it's really about financials, really, because keeping animals is fun. Like that should be enough. Obviously if you're spending thousands of dollars a month in rats and you're not making your money, maybe you shouldn't put yourself in that position, or slowly get there, And that's one thing I did. I didn't ever go, and I never had to buy a whole collection at once or buy hundreds of animals or buy, I was piece by piece built, and it never got really overwhelmed until I started to try to take too much on a few years ago and produce so much and then sell. I would sell, I had another partner locally that produced a lot of low end. So man, between that and what I would produce, bringing to these shows, I was selling basically 100 some clutches of snakes a year, on the road. It was a lot.
It's a lot to
do. It was just a lot to do. So I know I can do it, and the recipe works, but I just don't want to do that much anymore. I want to be able to do what I want to do with reptiles. And if it's too much, man, I'll just let it go. I don't want it to stress me out,
Are you planning on like taking this full time at some point?
100%. Yeah. So I've got most of my time completed in the fire department here now. And so I really am like looking at a year, maybe tops, a year, 2 tops of my job. And then it's going to be all snakes. So that's also why I went really hard for the last few years. Is just I wanted to learn as much as I could about what's the right way here and what's the right way to do this as a career. Is this going to be it, or is it going to be something, a different way? So
when you go full time, do you think you would like do more shows or start shooting for more clutches?
I don't know. I don't know if I'll shoot. I don't know if I'll shoot for more clutches, because basically I breed out of 3 adult racks, and not that I can't add more, but I don't know that I need more volume, because my whole point with ball pythons is that the fact that this has been a good situation, but it's kind of how I learned the fact that the stuff, not necessarily just loses value, but when you get your triple het females up and you get a couple of clutches out of them, when you have a double visual het to take its place, you need to be cycling those out pretty regularly. Like I'm at the point now where there's not too many females that are going to lay more than one clutch here, to be honest. Maybe two. Some good ones are going to be 2 or 3 clutches, probably realistically, but a lot of that stuff that's stepping stones, man, they need to go as soon as you have a replacement. Or you got 400s. Like, where do you draw the line?
Right.
You got to draw the line somewhere. And the fact that these morphs, you know, come so high and then go, you know, it doesn't take a long time for them to lose value, makes it to the point where we want to do it as fast as possible. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of different ways to do this, and it sometimes takes a longer time than you want to put into it to figure it out and what works for you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's definitely a lot that goes into it, and I still tweet stuff like all the time now. Like,
All the
and I
time.
feel like the whole time I'm in this,
Mhm.
I'll be tweaking stuff just because I mean, you learn something like, hey, maybe I should do this way, or you do something and then you learn you don't really even like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So then you can.
I like to experiment with just different little things all the time, and it doesn't always work the best, but sometimes it's worth it. There's even substrates and stuff. I'll still be like, I want to change to this. You know, there's all kinds of, why not? It makes it fun. I mean, you don't always want to have to change stuff if things are dialed in and working really well.
Yeah.
You know, but it's those things that you're like, okay, I can see, why is this one? You just, those little tweaks where you see something that could be tweaked, you know. But if you're not paying attention to that stuff and you're not in the room and you're not obsessed with it and you're not on Morph Market and not really hammer it out like any other business. If you own a construction company and you're not going out bidding jobs all day, every day, people ain't going to call you for work.
Right.
You know? So you do have to put a little bit of work into it, you know, more than making a logo and putting stuff in an online store.
Yeah, you got to put in the work for sure. 100%. That's what it's all about, bro.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. It's an awesome community still. And there's so many cool people and stuff to learn. And, I just don't know why anybody would expect, and this is a hot topic, and this is why I kind of keep hitting this, but why anybody would expect to just buy a bunch of snakes and make, you know, just fit in and have instant results, you know?
Yeah, that's unrealistic.
So unrealistic, man. I was so far into this before I started getting a piece of that.
That's so unrealistic. I mean, you can make smart decisions and put yourself in a better position, but as far as like just making it, like it's just so unrealistic.
It is. People do. I've watched, you know, some people do it real quick and it's impressive, but they've already had a foundation of like, they know business and they know marketing. They know all that end. And once they just have the snakes, they, you know, here it is. And they have the perfect package.
Yeah. And then they were investing like the right stuff for what they're trying to sell.
They paid attention for a couple of years and then put their money in.
Yeah, I would agree. Like Miguel is a good example of that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, got
He's
in and just, yeah, really, yeah. And I don't follow him that close, but I do know him well enough and what he produces. But man, like, yeah, got in quick. But what's impressive is that he was able to like weather the storm of a large collection early and knew what he was doing genetically early. Like that was impressive.
Yeah. Cool. Well, bro, it's been an amazing episode. I really enjoyed the time to get chatted up with you, man. But we can close up to an hour and 20 minutes. Is there anything you want to, I know, man, time flies when you're having fun. Is there anything you want to let the folks know before we wrap it up tonight?
Oh gosh, man, follow my chondro stuff. I'm sorry, I know I keep mentioning chondros, but I've had some cool activity lately. And, you know, I know this is a ball python show, but just,
the clutch pythons, what is it?
What's that?
The clutch that you said you gotta grab it. So
what? The one that I have grabbing is just a she's a very long-term wild caught biak, but she was a red neo. So when she bred my my one male that is I call him Stormtrooper, but he's a very, very high black. Like him at a year old and a year and a half old, he was super black. Started getting some blue and green scales on him. But now he's getting close to 4 years old. He's 3.5 now, but he's still a very, very high black male from very strong blue lineage on both sides, the mom and dad.
Okay.
So he's going to spit out some cool genetics, man, with this biak. So they're not just going to be green biaks. There should be some melanism, doubt I'll see any blue in them, but there's could be some high yellow stuff and some good melanistic stuff. And so there'll be some nice designers right out of that. So I'm excited to see what it looks like. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Anything else?
No, just that. Yeah, I think the point I was trying to make with even talking about that was just, if ball pythons are stressing you out and you were all in on ball pythons, and it's fun to diversify a little bit, not necessarily with, sell your ball pythons and get into a whole other breeding thing, but just get some other stuff that might be interesting. For me, it just gets to the point where when you have the same thing going on, it just gets old. You know what I mean? Not necessarily that I'm over it, but it's fun to just have something new around and just, something like a side project. Get a side project out there. Get some corn snakes or something, whatever it is. I got a few house snakes now. I got some corns and rat snakes, and it's exciting to have a little bit of stuff around now that's not just the same thing. So that's not that I want to go real heavy with a lot of different stuff that way, because that's where you start to lose focus. I don't want to lose focus, but don't be afraid to diversify a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of did the opposite. Like when I first got in, like I just started getting all kinds of stuff. Like
we all do, I think. Yeah,
snakes and
getting
spiders and stuff. I don't know if
I have spiders too. Yeah,
okay, nice. But yeah, here lately, I definitely have pumped the brakes on that kind of stuff. Like I sold all the carpet pythons I had. I actually kind of regret that, but I did it.
You can always, there's plenty out there when you can get more.
Yeah. I'm gonna be selling the boas soon. And so after that, I'll just have ball pythons and like one. And so that'll be it for me for snakes. And we got lizards and stuff at the house.
Yeah. It's fun to make changes, man. It keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate you having me on, buddy.
Yeah, for right now, I just kind of want to focus on the ball python stuff.
Absolutely.
And, because you got to manage bandwidth. You know how to catch.
Man, yeah, especially when you're so competitive, man. It takes a laser focus, and it takes a laser focus, and to not have, even with ball pythons, to not have your hands in everything. Just get 2 or 3 projects and make them really good. Make them as good as you can.
Hell yeah. But yeah, man, great chatting up with you. Big shout out to everybody who slid through tonight and caught the live show. Big shout out to Replay Game. Make sure y'all leave a comment. Let us know you were here. Big shout out to the audio only game. Please follow, rate, review, do all that good stuff. But that's going to be it for tonight. For Clutch Conversations, I'm Mike. This is the homie Chad. The lovely lady behind the scenes is Takar. Thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you.